Alright, guys. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. We are watching comparison most painful deaths in theme parks. Are y'all ready for this? Are you guys ready for this?
Joshua Smurfett, 12 years old, wanted to experience freefall, and he learned what it really meant. The
Is that
boy
really what
went
he
on the
wanted?
extreme ride Drop Zone and,
Bro, he was
at a
only
height
12,
of 30
Chad.
meters, suddenly slipped out of his seat, plummeting headfirst. Joshua's mother saw
Ouch,
her
that
son
hurt.
hit the
That- bro,
concrete
that feel
ride
like it hurt.
platform with tremendous force. It was a horrific tragedy, but at least he didn't suffer if you believe the pain scale based on scientific research. Falling
Actually,
from a height leading to instant death scores just 3 points.
only 3?
Meanwhile, the highest mark is 140. So how much
140?
pain can a place meant for fun really cause? Viewer discretion is advised.
Your discretion is advised, chat.
And now, let me tell you some of the creepiest stories from amusement parks. June 9th, 1991, in the history of Kings Island Amusement Park in Ohio, is known as Black Sunday. Around 9 p.m., friends
Yeah, that
Timothy
sounds
Benning and
crazy,
William
chat.
Haithcote were strolling through the park's garden by the fountain pond. It was a hot evening, so Timothy decided to splash his friend with some water. As soon as he touched the water, his body stiffened, and
What?
he collapsed in the shallow end. Not
Oh,
understanding
snap.
what happened, William rushed to help his friend, but immediately fell into the water as well.
What?
Minutes
Yo,
later,
is the water
Kings Island
electrocuted?
employee Daryl Robertson noticed the two visitors strangely floating in the pond. As soon as he tried to help them, stepping into the water, he was struck by a powerful electric shock.
Yeah, no, the
It
water's
turned out that a
electrocuted.
cable powering the fountain pumps was damaged, turning the entire pond into a massive
Dang,
electric
bro,
trap.
that's crazy.
Timothy Benning, who fell in first, survived, but Haithcote
Wow.
and Robertson, who rushed to help, died. On the pain
No,
scale,
Imagine, right. Imagine dying, right? Imagine having your friend die and a worker die and you survived all because you wanted to splash your friend. That's crazy, bro. Imagine, no, you're gonna live with that. Like, you're gonna live
death
with
by
that.
electric shock scores 36 points.
36 points.
However,
okay.
amusement parks have even scarier dangers in store. On June 2nd, 1997, when 120 teenagers arrived at San Francisco's water park, employees suspected it would be a tough day, but it turned into a nightmare. The high schoolers were
happened?
having a blast all day celebrating their upcoming graduation. When the administration announced it was time to head back to the buses, dozens of students rushed to the Bonsai Pipeline, a 23-meter-long winding slide with multiple tracks. A lifeguard shouted at them, saying they couldn't all go up at once for safety
Why would they
reasons.
want to do that? Is
At
that
least
that's
33
stupid?
of them tried to slide down together, and the slide collapsed, sending
What?
the students plummeting. They all
Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Why, yo, this doesn't make sense. Why would you wanna? Why would all 33 of them want to get on one ride? That's actually freaking stupid. And then another thing, if the ride can't hold 33 people, isn't it like how weak is that ride? How weak is the ride then? Cause I mean, I don't really know how much 33 people would weigh. I'm thinking maybe 5,000 pounds, somewhere around there. Maybe 3,000 pounds. But, like, bro, these water parks are made out of thick, whatever they make it out of, bro. But why would all 33 of y'all be stupid enough and be like, nah, let's all get on the ride at once. Nah, let's all get on the ride at once. This is a great idea right before we leave. Like, oh my
fell
god.
from a height of over 20 meters.
20
Six
meters is
students suffered
insane.
severe injuries, but that wasn't the worst news. Amid the chaos and screams after the tragedy, one detail stood out: a girl lying in a pool of blood.
Oh.
Her chest was practically crushed from the impact, and she
Ooh.
died just 45 minutes later. I guess during
that's
that
a slow
time, the
death,
poor girl
ain't it?
felt agony no less than a gunshot to the chest. And that's
What?
43 points on the pain scale. On
Weird
another
comparison,
continent,
but okay.
on October 25th, 2016, a different water ride brought even more agony to its visitors. That day, Kate Goodchild, along with her partner, Ruzi, and brother Luke, took her daughter to the popular Australian amusement park, Dreamworld. Around 2:20 p.m., they all went on the family ride, Thunder River Rapids. This ride is essentially an artificial river where rafts with visitors move along, surrounded by exciting scenery. The top speed on this ride is 45 kilometers per hour. And the
28
entire
miles
ride
an hour.
lasts
Hold on. Yo, what slow water ride is going that fast? I mean, I feel like the ones here in the US be like 5, 7 miles an hour at best. Wow.
less than
20
4
almost
minutes.
30 miles an
Kate
hour.
Goodchild's family, along with another woman and her son, who were in the same raft, were about to finish this short, fun journey when they saw an obstacle ahead. Another empty raft had gotten
Oh,
stuck at
shoot.
the end of the ride, blocking the path. It seemed like nothing bad would happen until Kate and the other woman threw their children out of the raft seconds before it collided with the other one and flipped over.
Wait, who dies here?
4
though?
adult passengers were hurt in the collision, but were alive when they fell into the water beneath the Thunder River tracks.
Okay,
Park
that's
staff
good.
immediately called rescuers, stopped the ride, and
So
started
what, someone
draining
got
the water.
injured or something?
To
Wait,
reach
did
the
they
trapped
drown?
raft passengers, they could only confirm their deaths. All 4 adults drowned,
Yeah.
scoring 57 points on the pain scale. But if
Yikes,
drowning
bro.
isn't even halfway up the scale, what the heck is worse? On January 3rd, 1984, 48-year-old Dolly Young and her 5 friends visited California's Disneyland. Of course, they didn't miss the Matterhorn bobsleds, a legendary ride of that time. Around 3:30 p.m., all 6 friends took their seats in the bobsleds. Young sat alone. The bobsled sped down 2 tracks that ran parallel for most of the ride. But just
That's
a few
crazy.
minutes into the journey, Young, for some unknown reason, couldn't hold on and fell onto the tracks.
How can you not
People
hold
riding
on?
the parallel
Aren't you supposed
tracks
to be
saw
like
the
buckled
frightened
in?
woman trying to stand up when the unthinkable happened. Another bobsled came around the corner. The family inside
Oh.
thought there was a dummy on the tracks, yet seconds later, the father
Oh,
screamed at his
snap.
daughters to close their eyes as their sled ran over Dolly Young.
Oh,
The bobsled got stuck on top
that's
of her
gonna
body,
hurt really bad.
and
ain't
only
it?
then did a special system alert the operator that something
getting
had gone
Chad, getting
wrong.
crushed by a
The
roller
worker stopped the
coaster,
ride,
bro.
and when he came to check, he saw a horrifying scene. The bobsled wheels had run over the woman's body,
Oh my
decapitating her.
gosh.
Young passed away almost instantly on the spot.
Yeah,
That
nah,
almost
that's gonna
was likely
hurt.
enough to feel pain, scoring 77 points.
Decapitation?
Yet there's something far worse on this scale, just as in the history of amusement parks. On September 22nd, 2000, 6-year-old Nicholas and 4-year-old Brandon Zucker were the happiest kids in the world because their family was at Disneyland.
I know.
For the younger
Disneyland's,
boy,
like,
a huge
it's
Disney
tough.
fan, it was the best
Oh my
day of his
gosh. Oh my gosh. Are these the mascots back then? Yo, is it just me or anything that's like any mascot or anything from back then, like Chuck E. Cheese, Disneyland, some other places, animatronics, yo, why they look mad scary? Like, yo, like if I was 5 years old back then, I would be mad scared of these guys. Like, look, this guy looks like he wants to freaking eat me alive. Chat, am I tripping? Like, bro, this looks like mad scary, bro.
life. The Zuckers spent the entire day having fun in the park, and after 10 p.m., they decided to go on the Roger Rabbit cartoon spin one last time. These were individual yellow taxis designed for 2 passengers that zoomed through the tunnels with vibrant
Bro,
decorations.
how do you die on
spinning
this ride? Like, nah,
360
realistically,
degrees.
how do we die on
But
this
the
ride?
Zucker brothers didn't want to be separated, so they both sat in the taxi with their mother, while their father and grandmother took the seats in the cab behind them. The kids enjoyed the ride for just a few minutes before disaster struck. When their mother
what
leaned
happened?
over to pick something up from the bottom of the taxi, Brandon fell out of the cab. Seconds
Oh,
later,
of
his father
course.
saw his 4-year-old son pulled under the taxi.
Oh my god.
The man immediately rushed to help, yet he couldn't stop the ride or lift the car. It kept moving forward, dragging Brandon
No
for
way.
about
Oh
3
my
meters
gosh, the
before
ride was
stopping.
dragging him.
His family was in shock, but his father managed to call for help. Although Disneyland claimed the ride operator
Imagine
responded
feeling all of
immediately,
that as a
it
4-year-old.
was actually park
That's
visitors
like,
who rushed to
bro.
help the child. Moreover, the ride staff forbade them from entering the tunnel. Fortunately, police and firefighters arrived quickly and used a jack to free the boy, though
Did he
wasn't
survive?
breathing.
Oh, he was
Rescuers
dead.
performed CPR until paramedics took over. Miraculously, doctors managed to restore Brandon's pulse, though
Oh,
he had
really?
experienced clinical death, couldn't breathe on his own, and his body started turning
Oh,
blue from lack of oxygen. Brandon
that's
went through an
crazy,
ordeal
bro.
similar
You
to
getting
being buried
dragged
alive,
under the
where the
ride?
body desperately needs air but can't inhale due to immense pressure on the chest. Being buried alive scores
That's
90 points on the pain scale.
That's crazy.
Still, Brandon's suffering didn't end there. He sustained irreversible brain damage and can no longer walk or talk. Despite
Oh.
his and his family's efforts, Brandon passed away at age 13. Yet his
Okay.
tragedy wasn't the only one Disneyland would like to erase from history.
Imagine being able to build
Oh
an
my
app
God,
with your
all
name
of
on
these
it
freaking-
just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete.
On July 8, 1974, Debbie Stone, a college student, was incredibly happy as she headed to work, planning to get engaged. She worked as a hostess on the new popular show America Sings at Disneyland. This show
Yo,
featured
why are all
individual
these things
musical
happening at
numbers
Disneyland?
performed
Am
on
I tripping,
rotating
bro?
stages. To change scenes, the walls on the left side moved toward each other and closed,
Okay.
separating one stage from another. 6 such stages rotated in turn, with the hostess greeting the audience at the start of the show and bidding them farewell at the end. That evening, Debbie Stone had this role. Around 10:30 p.m., as the previous show was ending and the stages were changing positions, a visitor heard a chilling scream.
Oh.
It was clear this wasn't
What
part of
happened?
the show, so ride operators rushed to the theater and saw a horrifying scene. Debbie Stone
Oh,
had been
she
crushed
got
between
stuck.
the walls of 2
Oh,
stages.
wow.
I think after such a tragedy, most bones in the body would be broken and internal organs damaged. On the pain scale, this would be almost identical to being caught alive in a meat grinder.
Okay,
scoring
wait, hold
90
on. Who, like, how are we making these comparisons, bro? How is getting smushed together compared to being put in a meat grinder? Pause. Like, bro, who, like, how are we making these comparisons? Cause, okay, I really need to know, bro. Like, how
6
do you
points.
know?
We're almost at the last maximum point on this scale, but there are still 2 terrifying stops along the way I want to tell you about. The star attraction of Luna Park, Sydney in the 1970s.
Oh my God, that looks terrifying. Chat, come on, yo, this looks terrifying. Like, bro, what 3-5-year-old kid would be excited to actually come here? They're gonna come here and think this is a
was
freaking
the Ghost
puppeteer
Train.
show.
There was always a massive line for it. So it's no
Ghost Train,
surprise
man.
that
Now,
brothers
that
Craig
sounds
and
great
Damian
for a freaking
Godson
ride name.
decided to use their last tickets on this ride late in the evening. On June 9th, 1979, when the line was almost gone, their dad, John, joined them while their mom, Jenny, opted to grab some ice cream and wait for them at the exit. Little
Okay.
did she know, this decision would be fateful. Around 35 passengers boarded the Ghost Train that night. They all set off into dark tunnels, filled with eerie decorations and special effects. That day,
Wow.
the smell of smoke and a creepily realistic fire in the fireplace added to the atmosphere. 4 13-year-olds were especially thrilled by the scares. Unlike their 12-year-old friend, Jason, the ride operator pulled Jason out of the car just before it entered the tunnel. The
Oh,
kid
shoot.
protested, but a moment later realized he'd been saved from a real-life nightmare. Right then, black clouds of smoke
Oh,
appeared
it's
at
fire.
both
It's a
ends
fire,
of the tunnel.
ain't it?
At first, the riders thought the smoke was part of the special effects, as was the small fire from the blaze.
Oh,
When
wow.
they realized what was happening, they started jumping out of the cars and running.
Bro,
By
it's
around
like you're
10:30
trapped in there
p.m.,
because you don't even
the
know your
ride
way
was
out.
completely engulfed in flames.
That's insane.
Jenny Godson, wringing her hands, hoped to see her husband and sons escape the trap. Jason Holman stood nearby, looking out for his friends. Unfortunately, they all got lost in the dark
Dang.
tunnels meant to scare them. And
Imagine
burned
being
alive.
that one kid
On the
that got
pain
saved
scale,
from the ride,
death
bro.
by fire rates about 101 points. But you know what I'm going to say next. Theme
No, I
park
don't.
visitors
Like
have
what?
endured events more painful than any mentioned so far. Teenager Caitlin Lassiter spent a hot June day in 2007 at the Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom with her friends. There, they had a ride similar to the one Joshua Smurfat fell from, which I mentioned at the beginning. Superman, Tower of Power, stood 54 meters tall and
Jeez,
reached speeds of
177 feet
67
tall.
kilometers per hour.
I
The
know,
essence
it's
was the
2026.
same,
We can't be
lifting
doing that.
people in seats up and then dropping them down, braking just before hitting the ground. Caitlin and her friend enjoyed their first ride on Superman, Tower of Power, and surprisingly, decided to go again since there was no line. However, the second ride turned into a catastrophe.
Oh.
As the seats rose just 6 meters, a
What
terrible
happened,
noise
Lala?
and sound like a whip crack was heard near the ride. In the next second, a cable fell on the girls, wrapping around Caitlin's torso and neck.
Bro, what?
The teens screamed, yet the seats kept rising. Only
How
when
does
smoke
this just
appeared near the
coincidentally
tower
happen?
and the air filled with the acrid smell of burning did people around panic. It took the
I mean,
operator 10
obviously,
more
yeah,
seconds
it's
to
an
hit the
accident.
emergency stop button, but it was too late. The seats with passengers plummeted downward. Caitlin managed to
Yikes.
remove the cable from her neck and torso.
Oh,
Still, it wrapped
shoot.
around her
She's gonna be
legs,
da-
and within seconds, it
Oh.
severed both her feet above the ankles.
She gets
Doctors
amputated.
miraculously saved not just the girl, but also her right leg. Despite this, she effectively endured the traumatic amputation of both
Oh
legs,
my gosh.
scoring 110 points on the pain scale. But if losing
Yikes.
both limbs and even your head isn't the worst on this scale, what hits a record 140
No, like
points?
actually, literally, what hits
Unfortunately,
140?
this was felt firsthand by an 11-year-old girl.
Oh shoot.
On March 7th, 2016, Elizabeth Gilreath visited a festival in Omaha, Nebraska with her family. Of course, the rides were what fascinated her the most. Among them was the centrifuge ride called Royal Crown, which Elizabeth eagerly rode with other kids. Soon, the fun turned into a nightmare.
Oh, yeah,
Elizabeth
no, of
slipped from her
course.
seat, and her long hair got caught in the ride's mechanism. These
Ooh.
torturous moments lasted for several minutes until
Did
Elizabeth
it like,
fell to
bro?
the floor of the
How is getting
centrifuge.
your hair pulled
A
out?
bystander rushed
the
to help,
most
but first had to stop the
painful
ride with her
thing.
bare hands, as it kept spinning even after being turned off. When
Oh,
she reached
snap.
Elizabeth, she realized the girl had been scalped. Skinning alive
Ooh.
is considered one of the most horrific forms of torture, scoring a record-breaking 140
140
on
on
the
the
pain
pain scale.
scale. I'll
Oh
add
my
here
gosh.
that Elizabeth survived,
Wait,
and
she
doctors
alive?
managed
Let's
to
go.
partially save the skin on her head. Now, she's learning to embrace her
Oh
new
yeah, she's
self.
good.
I
She's
wish none
chilling
of these
now.
disasters had happened. But if you want to know about the dangers lurking around without experiencing them firsthand, watch more videos on my channel and let me know in the comments what you'd like to hear about next.
Okay, guys, Chad, this is that low-key is insane, bro. Nah, Chad, yo, imagine like even dying to the first one, to getting electrocuted, like, bro, that is gonna freaking hurt. Like, that is gonna freaking hurt. Like, you're just gonna, you know you're dying at that point, like your leg, like, bro, I can't even, nah.